Hey, what's going on, everybody? Michael Daly back at you guys and girls with another episode of the Real 1% podcast where we talk to all walks of life in the military community, talk about the transition from soldier to civilian. And this another special episode today. We got my main man Quentin here, Small World. Before we came on, he had the 101st hat on. I see his Facebook. He had some friends, Brian Twitty, some people that I knew. I'm like, damn, dude, I wonder if this dude was at 101st. And little enough, he was there right before me. I was probably still trying to get through high school, and my man was probably already deployed. So without further ado, Quentin had 16 years in the Army. He had 4 tours. He went to Iraq and Afghanistan. And most importantly, he's a father of 2 children. So without further ado, Quentin, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing all right, man. How are you doing? Thank you for having me on.
No problem, man. Can't complain. Like Les Brown says, 80% don't care, 20% glad it's you. So ain't no sense to complain in this world. But nah, man. I told Quentin before the podcast, like real quick, I had to cut this one short because he's an Alabama fan. So you all like rolling Tide. Maybe you might want to stick around. He probably gonna slam me because I like the Gators. Dude had a picture on his Facebook of the Gators just getting whacked. I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna go, man. But we're gonna try it out, dude. We put in the Army, 101st. Let's look at the good. Let's look at the good, 1 time. So we'll keep it at that, man. I shouldn't have dug so deep in, but hurt my feelings a little bit. But what made you want to join the Army, man?
Man, it's crazy. Well, I'm not gonna even say it's crazy. I joined. I looked at it as a backup plan. From Alabama, Birmingham area, and everybody know Alabama's like a hotbed for athletes. Whether it's football, baseball, basketball, it's a hotbed. And for me, my senior year. Football season was over with, so I had to make a conscientious decision as to what I would do. Life after high school. I went to college. I was up at A&M. Even before then, I was already in the Guard. Okay. And at that time, you could join your junior year while you're in high school. Give you opportunity to make money. Outside of any other endeavors that you're doing in high school. So I did what they call split up. I did it. Like I said, I really didn't know what the future had for me after high school. And we're talking about back in the early 2000s. I always tell people when they ask me about my military career, I always tell them I had the fortune when I came in, Bill Clinton was president. When I left, Obama was getting ready to leave, and we weren't too sure who would be president when I left the military. So it turned out to be a blessing for me to go from the National Guard to active duty, and I don't regret that decision whatsoever.
Okay, yeah.
But again, it was just a backup plan for college. How it worked out for me. Just going to college, I was at Alabama A&M for maybe 2 months, and like September 11th happened, my National Guard unit got activated, and it was just I never looked back.
Okay, what position you played in football? Defensive end, linebacker? What did you do?
No, I was a receiver and cornerback, man, and it was one person. I think he's a Hall of Famer now. He played for the Colts, and he sent me on my way. That was another reason why I never looked back.
Who that? Marvin Harrison?
No.
You talking about someone hit you, someone clocked you on defense or something?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Football dangerous, man. They tried to get me to go out football first day of high school. I said, nah, dude, I'm baseball, basketball. I tried it my 11th grade year, like on spring, just to, everyone tell me to go try to play defensive end, dude. The dude in front of me going to Ohio State. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like football, man, respect to you for playing that, man. You probably grew up playing it, but, you missed the game.
I did miss the game, but like just going from high school athletics then going in the military, it was just a lot of similarities, man. Like the push-ups, the sit-ups, the running. The only difference was I found out I wasn't a long distance runner. Joining the military because of course you got the 2 mile for the APFT, and then Monday, Wednesday, and Friday you got muscle endurance, and then them Tuesdays and Thursdays you got them cardio days where you running anywhere from 4 to 5 miles.
Oh
Then you got
yeah.
to run 4 by 36. So it was just I found a lot of similarities. But if you played sports, if you played any kind of sports, and you had a coach in your grill every day, that mentally prepared me, or it probably prepared you too.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Going through
yeah.
basic training, and it prepared you for what you had to deal with in the military.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad playing sports. You're already athletic, doing your stuff, running all the time. So yeah, I looked at even the Army could be a sport, man. You just try to do the best you can every time. And like you said, we got stuck at Fort Campbell. You were there before me, but you know better than me. You got the aerosol course, you got the aerosol
Um,
school, you're doing a road march. You might be running every day. Oh no. Oh, I went to Germany, dude. My second duty station, hour PT, barely even doing it. Week.
right.
You go to Campbell, Bragg. You said you went to Bragg too?
Yeah, I left.
Nonstop. You're not leaving the parking lot, dude.
Yeah, I left Campbell, and so I left Campbell in 2005, and I went to Bragg, and it was nothing. It was nothing different. The only thing was I switched patches. I made
Yeah,
my unit patch my combat patch. My combat patch became my unit patch. That was the only difference, and it was just, oh, okay, you coming from Campbell going to Bragg, nothing changed.
pretty much. And all you'd say is instead of being in Clarks, Vegas, you in Vietnam, and then instead of saying air assault, you saying all the way.
Yeah,
Pretty much, right? It's a,
you saying all the way, or it was always just airborne.
airborne.
So
Yeah, yeah. There you go. That's it, man. Same thing, just different state, same territory. So when you joined the Army, obviously you said as a backup for school, did you think you were going to stay in for 16 years?
no, I did not, man. I know a lot of people. Like when I was in the time I was in, especially the deployments, it, Iraq just like set off a chain reaction. Everybody's like, "Oh man, I'm done after this deployment." And
Yeah.
for me, I reenlisted in 2005. I think it was a 4-year reenlistment. I was kind of hesitant about reenlisting. And the funny thing about it, every time I reenlisted throughout my years of service, I never got a bonus. So I think I can say it was never for the money. It was the love that I developed for being in the military. I never thought that I would be in that long. I thought I was going to be just doing my obligatory 8 years, what I'm obligated. Which most
Yeah.
people, most males don't know that selective service. You obligated 8 years in the military. I even told that to a lot of my cadets when I taught JROTC. Hey, if you're a male and you got your driver license, hey, you got to select the service number.
Right.
You obligated 8 years. So I never saw myself staying in as long as I did. I thought it was just going to be 4 years and that was it. But it was just something about the love that I developed, and the friendship, the camaraderie that I built.
Yeah.
So yeah, I never uh, expected that. And while we on, I'm looking over at my shelf and I'm looking at all my reenlistment folders, the green folders that they give you.
Yeah. The binders. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sitting up here and I probably got 7 or 8 of them. I'm looking at them. So
I feel you, man. I only had one. I re-enlisted one time, and I got $3,000, and I was in Afghanistan. I said, "Damn, I got a little something." But meanwhile, like you said, didn't do it for the money. Did it for the love at the time and the passion to be in. But what was your MOS? I don't even ask you that.
so when I first joined, I was 11 Charlie Mortimer.
Mortarman. Okay.
All right, and then I got hurt and ended up having to reclass. I reclassed to 92 Alpha, which is uh they it's supply, but they added a name to it to make it sound so prestige, automated logistics specialist, and which I'm glad that I did. I reclassed to that job because it helped me life after the military. It's been a benefit. I benefited from.
Yeah, you're not gonna shoot mortars, hopefully, when you get out, unless you go over like be private security or something like that. So that's right, man. It's combat arms. You can only do so much stuff when you get out. So unfortunately, sorry to hear that you got hurt, and hopefully you're doing all right. Did you get hurt down range like in Iraq or Afghanistan?
Yeah. So I got. It was my first deployment, man. So I had to. Of course, they you can't keep up. So we gonna reclass you, and I reclassed over to 92 Alpha,
Okay.
and that's where I spent majority of my. That's where majority of my military career was spent in the quartermaster field.
Okay. Yeah, not bad. So, where else did you go besides Bragg and Campbell? Did you end up going anywhere else?
Oh, so it was Bragg, Campbell, Hunter Army Airfield,
Okay.
which is the aviation brigade for Third ID. Went to Germany. I was in Germany twice. Of course, like I said, my National Guard unit, the unit I was in at the time, we were a detachment out of Germany. So, and that's where I ended up with my first deployment when I was like many moons ago, detached to a unit out of Germany. And so that's 2 tours in Germany. And when I came back from my last deployment, while I was at Hunter, my unit reflagged up on the 10th Mountain, and of course, nobody wants to go to Fort Drum.
Nah, man. You
So
already know.
I ended up missing out on a reclass assignment because I re-enlisted the reclass when I was deployed. So I had to waive my re-enlistment rights, and I ended up going back to Germany again to
Oh, I was in
Grafenberg.
Vilsec, man.
Yeah, so again, you know how it is, but I think, but this time when I went back to Germany, I was an NCO, so
Okay.
it was a lot different for me. I hated it over there, but I love the people. Again, like I said, some in the Army, well, in the military, it's some places that you're gonna hate, but you're gonna love the people because again, you develop that bond.
Oh yeah. So
And
Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, I know a lot of like Germany. When I think about it, I laugh so much about it because I'm like, man, Germany made me quit drinking.
Oh, that's what I was about to start getting into. I didn't want to cut you off. I was going to say, I'm sure you know about the one pearls.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, dude. Okay. Clarksville and Fayetteville. That's like they party. They're partying. But I'm telling you, man, Germany, for people that don't know, is like a whole nother animal. Man, you get on that train in Vilsec or Graf, and you ride out to Nuremberg. You're out
Yeah.
all night, dude. 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. You know how it goes, dude. I know you got good memories.
Man, one of it's crazy. This was in 20. I went to Germany in 2010. They were trying to get me to stay over there for 3 years, but it was like, oh, you're a career soldier, so you got to stay. And of course, I had to go pull the regulation. I say, my family is not here. I'm unaccompanied, so I'm here for 2 years. But they were like, oh, you got to stay 3 years. I said, no, this is not what the regulations say. But in Germany, like I said, it made me quit drinking because I couldn't really enjoy myself. I was forever having to go and get somebody from the MP station or, having to go to the housing area to intervene on the soldier and his wife.
Yeah,
It was so much. I was like, you know what? I might as well not even drink.
yeah.
But again, I enjoyed Germany because it showed my maturity and my growth while I was over there.
Okay,
Because
that's fair.
I actually that's why I showed my craft of being an NCO, learning how to take care of soldiers, man. And I think that's why I really developed the love for being in the military a little bit more because I was like, yeah, I get to take care of these people.
Yeah,
And
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it was really a culture shock, even from Fort Campbell and for me, and then going to Germany because I felt like it was a total different army, man. Maybe it was just I think I just had bad experience with the leadership I had, and that's okay because it's everywhere. But yeah, it makes you go to new heights, I think, and at the end of the day, I was an NCO too, and I still had to take care of the soldiers that were underneath me, even if I wasn't getting taken care of, you know what I mean? So
Oh yeah,
you said you were pulling regulation, so it seemed like you got to do something along the same lines as what I got involved in. And it was like, not to gripe or nothing like that, but I was a cook, so we got shaft over there. Dude, like always would have to always work and stuff like that. And you just got the brunt of everyone else is on 4 days, and the MPs and the cooks are always working. But that's fair, But it was just a different army, man. And that's when I sort of turned the corner, and I was like, you know what? I don't really see myself doing much more. Fort Campbell was great. Some people might not get along, but we all got along for the greater good. We were always deploying. But once I got attached to the infantry unit and went down range again, everything was fine on 86 and everything was good. But, it's a small world that we kind of are on the same places around the same time too. So,
yeah. And so to piggyback off what you said, like it was a different army, man. When I got when I was at Campbell and Bragg, the discipline level was top notch. And it was like when I left Bragg, that's when I saw the changes that were happening in the army. And when I left Campbell, I don't know if you know Sergeant Major Muhammad or not.
Sultan Muhammad, he was actually the 18th Airborne Sergeant Major when I deployed to Iraq. He was at Fort Bragg, but he was like the core 18 Airborne.
Yeah.
Sergeant. Yeah, I know him.
So I had him as a battalion sergeant major at Campbell.
Okay.
And then I had him as a brigade sergeant major at Bragg.
Damn.
So like, again, it's a small world, but he was one of those ones that I had a lot of leaders from Campbell and Bragg that I learned from, and I took everything I learned from them and I put in my tool bag, and I still carry those tools and those values with me today. Like I said, when I left Campbell and Bragg and went to other duty stations, the discipline level was just it wasn't what I was used to. And when I left Germany, I went to Fort Bliss, and I really saw. I said, well, the army is changing, the military as a whole is changing, because I was in. By the time I got to Bliss, I think I was in year 14.
Okay.
And it was always some encouragement, even while I was at Campbell. Go to school, go to school, go to school. And I didn't take advantage at the time beforehand. And I didn't really start utilizing those tools to go to school till I got to Bliss. And, I realized it was too late. Yeah, I had got promoted and everything, but I look back and think about what I could have done, how far I would have went had I did, go to school. Had I got my associates and my bachelor's while I was still in service, I probably would have. When I think about it, I'm like, man, I probably would have graduated with some of the people that I know that just recently graduated from the Sergeant Major Academy, or I'll probably be a warrant officer by now. But with all that, I don't have no regrets, because for me, I joined the Army. I was 17 when I joined, so I grew up in the military. And like when I left in 2016, it was a shock. And even up to now, it still is a shock for me, because I'm being retired. I took a medical retirement.
Okay.
My body, I sacrificed my body for so much. It just started breaking down on me to the point to where I was like, yeah, let me. I'm hearing my body say, hey, you can't do this no more. You can't. So I made the conscious decision to say, well, it was offered to me for a medical retirement. I will accept it. I wanted to make E7, but I left as an E6. I had the opportunity to, I did good enough to where I know I would have made E7 on my first look had I stayed in.
Right.
So, that fast forward to where I am now, just living life after the military is always my story.
Absolutely. Always. It don't matter if you're a sergeant major or a private, dude, you're getting out one day. You know what I mean? Either 30 years or 3 months. Like, You know, I've talked to sergeant majors, I've talked to people that got hurt in basic training, and it's like, yeah, you got to have a plan. So I want to rewind a little bit and ask you a couple questions because you were at some pretty hard charging duty stations. And I like to ask this question because I know what it was for me, and I'm sure it's going to be the same for you. But sick call, dude. When you were going up in the ranks, what that look like? You know, what was the perception on sick call for you and your subordinates and just your comrades, pretty much?
Oh man. So, of course, being at Campbell and Bragg, I mean, well, anywhere in 18th Airborne Corps, whether you're at Campbell, Bragg, Fort Stewart, Fort Drum,
Yeah,
and we all know they frowned upon it, but again, if you had a leader that would tell you, take care of yourself first, you got to take care of yourself first. That's what you got to do. And a lot of times when I did go to sick call, it was, oh damn, he really do need to go to sick call. I didn't I got diagnosed with asthma in the military.
Yeah.
I was at Fort Stewart when I got diagnosed with asthma, man, and to be out there running a 2-mile PT test with no inhaler, with an inhaler that you ain't getting nothing out of, and you still giving your all, and you get to the finish line, and you like, oh man, I can't breathe, but you got 1,000,001 people telling you, hey, stand up. I'm like, dude, fuck this shit. I cannot stand up. What the fuck, So,
yeah.
And it was like, okay, well, I got to go to sick call because I gotta get this medication that here, take this, with no clear cut guidance. We all know that when you go to sick call, you tell them, oh, you got a hurt back or whatever, they're gonna give you 800 milligrams of
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, ibuprofen until you take a knee and drink water out of the quart, right? That's
right.
That's what they used to prescribe us back in the day. For real though, man, it's just sad, dude.
And with all that, like I said, I sacrificed my body so much, and a lot of people on the outside looking in, they don't really understand, that a service member, whether you're Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, you sacrificing your body, doing even the smallest thing, it will cause wear and tear on your body. I didn't know until I was out maybe 2 or 3 years. I was always having back problems. Even when I was in Iraq and Afghanistan, I was always having back problems. I had a doctor downrange. I said, hey man, my back hurt. My back hurt. He gave me Motrin and he laid me on the table trying to do some chiropractic shit. Oh, you just trying to get out of work. I'm like, dude, like literally my tailbone is hurting. So, oh, you got a bruised tailbone. Well, how do you know I got a bruised tailbone? You ain't did no X-ray, no MRI, nothing. You just telling me, oh, I just got a bruised tailbone. So fast forward to life after the military, I go to the doctor. They run an MRI, CT scan, and the first thing my doctor said, well, you ain't crazy. He said, you got herniated disc in your back.
The fuck,
herniated L4, L5 disc in, after all these years. I said, damn.
That's
so
it's sad. It's sad, but and you're like not the only one because everyone probably got diagnosed like that. Like, oh, what you crying for? What you doing that for? And did you see a VA doctor, a civilian doctor, or which one did you see when you got all that done?
I'm gonna tell you the funny thing about that. So it kind of gave me flashbacks of being in the military when I told my VA doctor about it, because I was like, oh man, you on that same shit too, like.
Right.
The doctor at the VA goes, well, I don't want to touch your back. I'm like, dude, the crazy thing about it, on my VA ratings, I put down, that, about my back issues. They said it was not service connected. Right. I'm pretty sure, if anybody else watching this, and you might have seen it on your VA rating sheet, you might have something, you joined the military, nothing was wrong with you.
Right.
And as soon as you leave, you got 1,000,001 things wrong with you. And the obvious stuff, you would think they would say is service connected. Like I said, I had hurt my back. I went through deployment after deployment with a hurt back, and the VA said, "Oh, it's not service connected."
Do you think that's because you didn't really? I'm not trying to assume nothing, but did you ever besides that guy that said nothing was wrong with your back, did you try to get that paper trail rolling, or did you just say
Oh
like pretty
yeah,
much like
yeah,
how
man. Like so my second deployment, I got medevac out of Iraq, man.
oh shit.
So and even it's in my record. They was like, oh, he has lumbago. I was like, I'm like lumbago. What is lumbago? They was like, oh, that's your lower lumbar. So
Okay.
it's in my paperwork. That I was getting treated for back problems and everything, but I guess it wasn't really enough.
That's crazy, dude. Did it end up working out for you in the long run, like after you had to go through all that bullshit?
Well, of course, when us as veterans, we get that magic number, that everybody wants. We hit that magic goal, it's like, oh, well, we're good.
Right.
It still ain't. I'm still fighting for it. I even had a lawyer because I had to get a lawyer for my disability and everything. He was like, well, it's nothing. It's not really much they could do for your back. I was like, man, you know what? Fuck that shit. I want them to fix me.
Yeah.
So they'll do whatever. So. Um, I'm getting treated for it, but they still saying it's not service connected.
That's absurd, dude. That's a shit show and a half. Sorry that you going through that. That's ridiculous, dude.
Yeah,
Like you got the medevac, you got the other thing that what happened when you were Charlie, and then 16 years of wear and tear is not enough to say it's service connected.
yeah. So
What?
it
Wow.
I had people ask me about it. I said, the average service member is just like a football player.
Yeah.
And they was like, well, what do you mean? They said, well, what do you mean? I said, how many years does a running back have in the NFL?
4, maybe.
4 years. And I said, just think about that being in the military. You serve 4 years in the military, whether it's the Army or the Marines. After them 4 years, you're gonna have some wear and tear on your body.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. 40-pound rucks, doing this, climbing ropes, low crawling this, fucking pulling deer out of a creek with Sergeant Major Blake at Fort Campbell, doing all crazy, dude. Yeah, you're right though, man.
You
Like,
know,
people don't really. Yeah, you're right though, dude.
fracturing your ribs doing the air assault course and everything. So like I said, man, it's
Damn.
out of all that, they ask me all the time, hey, would you do it again? Yeah, I wouldn't trade it for the world because I'm looking at all the people that I served with.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good stepping stone, good experience, and it got you where you are today. And in hindsight, everything's good. Just sad that you got to go through all that nonsense to just get what you deserve after, raising your hand like we all do and sacrifice our life for the country and for the great good. And then you get treated like that. That kind of tears a lot of people away from the VA. But I'm glad that you staying persistent and consistent, staying on that and not giving up, dude. A lot of people just give up and they say, man, fuck the VA.
Yeah.
Well, not really, dude. You're doing yourself a disservice, man. You gotta have to put. Luckily, you did the work. It seems like while you were still in, and I wanted to ask you about what was going through your mind once you start thinking about when they brought up that med board that was on the table. Did you talk it with your wife, or what went on?
Well, I was like, man, they really, they really trying to. I said, man, they trying to kick me out. Why they want to kick me out? And I was like, no, man, I want to stay in. I want to stay in. I said, look, I got my E6. I want to stay in. I just want, let me stay in. I want to hit 20 years. I said, man, I'm 4 years away from doing 20 years, and everything. Well, I had a platoon sergeant. He sat me down. He talked to me. He said, man, look, he said, take the med board. Take the medical retirement. It ain't being a medical retirement ain't no different than the regular retiree. He said the only difference is, he's like, your shit, you probably gonna be your disability is combat related, so you good, and you don't even realize. He's like, just take it. He's like, trust me, take the medical retirement. He said, then also look at it like this: you got 2 kids at home. You get to see your kids once, twice a year. And he's like, man, take that medical retirement, man, and take your ass home and go raise your kids. So when I thought about it, I was like, man, nobody could say at my age, nobody could say, hey, they successfully retired. They retired with success, unless they playing basketball or something, like playing pro sports or something like that. They don't want to admit it. So nobody could say that nobody could say that hey, I'm retired you know, in my early 30s, I'm retired.
True.
So it was an eye opener when they, when he brought up the family aspect, going home to take care of my daughters, because it was true. I was only getting to see my daughters twice a year. One of my youngest daughters, she was born premature. I missed her birth, and I chose my career, over staying at home, being with my youngest daughter while she was in the hospital. My youngest daughter had to stay in the hospital until she got healthy enough to go home. But I was selfish and I chose my career. So when my platoon sergeant told me at that time, I was like, man, let me go home and take care of my kids. If I'm gonna be getting on anybody, if I'm gonna be getting on anybody about doing the right thing, it's gonna be my kids. So, I made that decision, and once I had my mind made up, I didn't really look back, I was like,
Yeah.
you know what, the hell with it, fuck it.
No, I don't blame you, dude. Respect you for doing that, owning up to your duty as a dad, man. There's nothing better than being a dad. I don't think I had a 7-year-old son, had him when I got out the army, but respect you for doing that and taking care of yourself. But a lot of people get caught up in, not just in the army, in the military, they just put their career first, dude. And then the next thing you know, you got an 18-year-old kid. Think about the army when you were in, when we were in. Okay, you got PTS 30, you got to drop your kid off at daycare. If they're a little kid, they're there all fucking day, dude. 5,
Yeah.
6 o'clock at night. And then put them to bed at 7 or 8. When do you see them? So even if you saw them every day, just like an hour or two a day, that's not really, like you said, you only see them a couple of days out of the month when you really look into it like that. So, yeah, you made the right choice, dude.
Yeah, that was something I couldn't get back. And I actually, to go back on it, when I was at Hunter Airfield, I had my oldest daughter with me, and so I got a experience as to what military parents have to deal with, getting up at like 4:30 in the morning, having to get my daughter ready, having to rush to get her to daycare, having to beat the traffic from daycare to get on post before the flag, go down. Then, having to leave work to get to the daycare before the daycare closed, because they charge you like for every minute.
Charge extra, yeah.
Yeah, they charge you $1 for every minute late. So I had a hand, and doing all that. That really helped me with my experience with a lot of my soldiers that had kids and everything, especially the single moms. I was like, man, I got to give y'all kudos. I got to give y'all props, because as a single parent, as a father, it was not easy.
Nah, man, you got a girl, you got to learn how to do their hair, brush their hair. And I got a son, dude. It's easy. I couldn't imagine having a girl. That should add another 20 minutes to the day right there, dude.
Yeah. And
for real.
If I didn't have I had a good support system, fellow NCOs, and my chain of command. Oh man, like my company commander at the time, and I caught up with her. She actually got made lieutenant colonel, and she was in command out at Anniston Army Depot. Like, I had to have a heart to heart with her, because I was like, look, I got my daughter. I was like, please don't make me do no family care plan. The family care plan.
Yeah.
She was like, all right, Sergeant Hatches, now, if anything come up, you know what I'm gonna have to do. I said, look, I promise you, you ain't gonna have no issues. So, I had a good chain of command team that understood my situation, understood what I was trying to do. So I had to get them, they helped me get through that time. But, moving forward, like I said, I made that decision to get out, and I thought everybody, they said, hey, make sure you got a plan when you get out.
Yeah.
I did not have a plan when I got out. I'll be honest with you. Did I have a plan when I got out? No.
Yeah, I mean, even if you have a plan, I had a plan A, but guess what? That shit blew right up in my face. You know what I mean? So even if you got one plan, that might not be the right thing. So I wanted to ask you real quick before we go into like what your plan, what the no plan looked like. I want you to touch on that. But one more thing on like the med board and get out the military. Do you think that you got a good farewell, not from your peers, but essentially did they do the right things? First of all, where'd you get out? Did you get out from Bliss, and wherever you got out from? Did you have a good ACAP experience? Did you have a good? Did you get beat? You got med boarded, so I'm guessing you got your disability before you got out. But touch on that if you don't mind.
Yeah. So But when I left, when I did the process, like it came, it started slow, but I was like, okay, I'm good. So it's still giving me time when because this was in like uh, late 2015.
Okay.
So I was like, all right. I said, man, I probably ain't gonna be up out of here till like January, but the process went real quick. Um, the ACAP process, it was beneficial. I got a lot of information. I wish I would have stayed in Texas because Texas is a veteran friendly state. Texas, they take care of their veterans. But in
Sure.
all, it was very informative. What I did not like about it was, they say, oh, well, you in the Army, you can go out and get any job. You'll be able to get any job, your veteran's preference. I don't like the narrative behind that because that's not, and I'll elaborate more and more later into
Okay.
the conversation. But I got a good farewell, got all my information. At the time, what I was told was, the GI Bill is 36 months, the voc rehab is 42 months. And at that time, it was either, you use your GI Bill, you can exhaust 35 months of your GI Bill. As long as you got a month over, you'll have your remaining 42 months for your voc rehab.
Okay.
Fast forward to now, all that's changed. The voc rehab and the GI Bill is two separate entities. So, if
Sure.
anybody watching this, y'all decide to get out, the GI Bill is still 36 months, which is separate. You can use all three years of your GI Bill, and as long as you got a rating of 30% or more, you still can use you're still eligible for your voc rehab with no penalty.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right about that. And that's something I didn't know until I talked to a warrant officer at school when I said enough is enough. And I got into school using my GI. Then I switched right to voc rehab. And I think it was around like 2019, they passed that law that said, yeah, it's not going to take away from one. You can use both. So I'm glad that you got to find that as well. Did you do both of those? Did you use your GI and voc rehab when you got out?
Well, yeah, I used 6 months of my voc rehab only because with voc rehab they give you a laptop and a printer and everything.
Absolutely.
Uh, and I switched back over to using my GI Bill, and now as I speak right now, I got a year. I got a year and a couple months left out of my GI Bill, still the exhaust, and
Hey,
I still got some of my voc rehab to use.
there you go. Hey, you know about this one real quick? I hope I can put you on some game, man. You know that if you were 100% permanent total or SSDI or TDIU, the total unemployability, that we can apply for student loans. And when you
Yeah,
graduate, you know about that?
yeah. So I just completed my bachelor's, and I got my student loan. I got the paperwork. I got that paper, and I was calling Ed Finance. I was like, hey, I got this paper, man. So when y'all gonna, you know, it said my student loans got discharged and everything. So uh, I was real skeptical about that though, because I had, when they say you hear from one person, but you got to hear from three people or more before
Absolutely.
it's actually true. So I took advantage of it.
Okay. So you tracking that? That's good though, man. I did not believe that shit when I first heard it. I was like, what? So
Yeah,
anyone that's listening, man, like even if you don't have student loans, like for instance, for me, for example, I'm 100% right. Didn't have it at first, but anyways, I'm in the graduate degree, right? So I'm using my GI Bill, but guess what? You can still apply for student loans, and you're gonna get them through FAFSA through your school. Just ask them to help you, and then for it's $20,000 a year for graduate school, and then once you're done with all your school, you can do a one-time ask to wipe all your loans. Because a guy told me, Michael, he's coming on tomorrow, and he was a JAG officer in the Navy, I believe. And he said he got almost $300,000 worth of student loans forgiven, dude. I
yeah,
could not believe that. So, yeah,
yeah.
man. They don't talk about all that stuff when you first get out, man. You've been out
No,
for a while now, dude.
No, they don't, man. And like the benefits part, I didn't know, here, well, it depends on where you go, where you live at. If you join like your kids,
Yep.
the VA would pay for you. Well, I was under the impression the VA would pay 100% tuition and everything, for my daughter. She's in college right now, but the VA, the actual VA, they will send her a stipend. Now the
Yeah.
state VA benefits would cover the tuition and the room and board
Yep.
for my daughter. But that's if you're 100% permanent in total.
Yeah. And your spouse too.
Right? Yeah. Well, yeah.
Not bad.
Actually, that's for any dependents that you have.
And you're correct, sir. Yeah, dude. So you've been on game, man, getting up there. Like we starting the damn game plan like Nick Saban in this mug, man. Let's go. Let's go, man. Urban Meyer, Nick Saban, tag team duo.
Yeah.
Let's go. You got to though, dude. Like seriously, dude. Like imagine getting this packet. That's why why hopefully this podcast can reach people and they can have this information before they get out and shit hits the fan. They got to figure it out on the fly because you're not easy to be like, dude. For instance, like I worked 12 or 15 jobs that were dead end jobs, and you got paid like shit. And then I was like, dude, I went into the army to go to school. Like one of the reasons I joined the army was to go get an education to not have student loans. But I deeded away from that when I first got out. But if you have your GI Bill or voc rehab, either one set up, say in Florida, like I'm in Tampa, so close to Tampa, so it's like $2,800 a month for the BAH. Then you
Right.
say you get your Pell Grant for $800 a month, you're at like 36, and then you're at 100% disabled a month, another $4,000. Dude, you're making like 70, 80 grand a year tax free.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's tax
Come on.
free.
Exactly. What? You don't need to go work at McDonald's or Pizza Hut or all the dead end jobs just to try to make ends meet. You got to have a plan. So, what did your no plan look like when you first rolled out the army after you got sent off? You did your ACAP and everything like that. What
Yeah.
happened next?
What happened? So when I got out, I came back. I thought it would be a piece of cake for me. And I found out the hard way. Um, I went and applied for, everybody. The first thing they see a veteran, I don't know why every veteran do it, but as soon as they get out, they take their ass, including they go get a damn security job. They go
Yeah,
get a job. They go get a job being a damn security guard, and so I did that, and it was no money behind it. I think the most I ever made being a damn security guard was like 11.25, and
yeah,
I was like, man, you know what? Fuck that. So I went back. I went online, did a little bit more research. Like jobs for veterans, programs for veterans. I joined the Wounded Warrior Project.
okay,
And with the Wounded Warrior Project, they have job placement, job searches. They even got people that will help do resumes. And with the Wounded Warrior Project, I got a job working at Mercedes, the Mercedes plant in Tuscaloosa.
okay,
Uh, that was an attempt to hire job. I worked there for 5 months, and what came down to it, it was me and another guy. I had the logistics background with the experience. He had the degree in supply chain management. So go figure. I got laid off. Um, so they went with the guy with the degree, and this was like 2016. Um, I said, well, let me dab into going back to school. So I went back to school for a little while. Um, I had about I ended up going through treatment because I found out I had colon cancer. So that was a roadblock. That was a roadblock for me. But I overcame it. I beat it. Um, went back to work. Went back. Reached out to the Wounded Warrior Project. Um, uh, got a job placement through them. So I worked at Land Rover dealership as a parts clerk. Um, Worked for Land Rover and BMW. So with that, it was like up and down, job after job, take the time off, applying for unemployment. It was like, just four walls. The walls started closing in. I was like, man, I got to find. I didn't have no stability. bills were behind. But even though I was working at BMW and Land Rover, still had bills were behind. Not to mention, for me, single father, got to pay child support. They came after me, so I was like, man, the world is falling down on me. And I worked at BMW, for a while. But I could not advance. That's what I had noticed. If you don't have a degree, you're not going to advance out here in the real world, And it wasn't a lot of people. Oh man, you're a veteran. You should get first deals. I was like, man, they don't recognize that bullshit. That veterans preference.
Not too much.
That's bullshit to me because yeah, if a company will hire a veteran, they getting a little tax break off of that.
There you go. Yeah, they do it always for the kind hardness. They do that shit because they get credits. Yeah, you're right though. That's
they get their little tax credit. I mean, they can hire you. They can hire you for 30 days and fire your ass, so they gonna get that tax credit for that 1 year.
Damn shame, dude.
And it was just up and down from 2016 to 2017. Working odd jobs and everything, trying to keep my head above water. And I really didn't hit gold. I struck gold when after being on USA Jobs, applying. A job at the VA finally came through for me.
That's what the better preference will work out in your favor, though, dude. You got to say that, right? With the VA and the government, a little bit better than BMW. They might not give a damn. They just want you the parts. They want their shit in order. Probably don't care where you're from. Maybe you find a boss that will help you, but yeah, you're right, dude. They don't really care, man. What happened when you struck gold with a VA? There you go. You good? Can you hear me?
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, I hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Can you hear me? Yo. Can you hear me?
Okay. I'm gonna have to leave and come back.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry about that, man.
No, you good, dude. It's life.
These phone calls come in and interrupt the flow.
Oh, you straight? It's all good, man.
Okay.
But now, what happened when you struck gold with the VA? What ended up happening for you?
So I got a job at the VA. I went in on the interview, and like I said, this where the military camaraderie comes in. That on the interview panel, it was a guy. He recognized me from being in Germany, and he was like, "Man, I recognize you from running a warehouse operation in Germany." And this, after the interview, wrapped up and everything, he's like, "Man, you good as gold. You got it." And I was like, "Well, thank you for putting the word in, man." He said, "Nah." He said, "It was all you. Just me saying that, just me recognizing you. It was just an added bonus for me to get the job." And this was in 2018. I think I worked at the VA for 2 years. That was like the longest job that I held down outside of the military for 2 years, working at the VA hospital. And of course, the pandemic happened, and the whole world was upside down. I actually ended up I started back with school while I was working at the VA also because, again, we think veterans preference when we applying for all these government jobs. But however, when you're on USA Jobs and you apply, for certain GS grades, certain criteria followed, and I was eligible for GS 7, 9, and 11 positions, but I wasn't selected because at that time I didn't have an education background.
Okay.
Uh, and so I focused on getting my degrees, and I made it a conscious decision to leave. My father passed away in 2020.
Sorry to hear
So I ended up having to leave because I was like, man, nothing is here in Alabama for me, and I thought I was gonna be leaving, but I didn't. So I took some time off, and then the time that I took off from after my dad passed in 2020, uh, I finished my associate's degree. Finally, I was like, damn, it took 20 some years, but a lot of people like, well, it's never too late, you accomplish it. So
that. It's
I
true.
I finished my associate degree and went back to school for my bachelor's. But while going to school for my bachelor's, I found solace uh, being a substitute teacher,
Okay. There you
and
go.
I was able to parlay that into being a JROTC instructor.
Okay. I was going to ask you
Uh,
about that. You mentioned earlier, so I didn't know if you did that in the army or out. So you end up doing that as a civilian after you went through all that stuff. That's pretty. How'd you like doing that? At a college or a high school?
at the high school level, man, I enjoyed it, man, because it was like kids, a lot of kids that I had, a lot of students that I had, the first thing they said, well, I'm not going to the Army. I'm not going to the Army. And I had to break it down to them. I said, hey, JROTC, it'll help you become a better person. I said, that's what the motto is for JROTC, motivating young people to be better citizens. And of course, I have my knuckleheads. And, the thing about the education system today is so much technology. Uh, they don't really use books like how it was when we were in school,
It's true.
So everything is in the palm of their hands with a tablet or their cell phones. And me and one of the other instructors, we were tag teaming, and we were at a school where students were not interested in JROTC, but we made it so fun for them. Every kid was like, "Damn, I want to join ROTC. I want to join ROTC." Uh, because kids took interest in marching, the drilling ceremonies. We didn't want to do the rifle team because, the kids play too much.
Yeah.
Uh, so, but just having a drill team, a color guard, marching in the Veterans Day parade, when they saw how much fun, they didn't, they were like, oh man, I didn't know it'd be so much fun. Even just wearing the uniform, uh, it was fun for them. So we changed the atmosphere, and we changed the outlook how kids look at JROTC at the school that I was at. Now, um, me doing that, um, I had an issue. The department head was counting my money because when you're an ROTC instructor, uh, you don't get paid by the school system. You get paid from the Army. So
Oh,
you getting now how it does is it's like a contract between the school system and the Department of the Army.
okay.
So no, the school will pay you. The Army just got to pay the school system back. It's like you got to negotiate your pay.
Okay.
And the department head, he when he saw how much money that I'll be making, he kind of said, hey, I'm gonna have to because of your disability, you can't be a JROTC instructor. So uh,
What did you feel like when he said that?
Um, man, I felt like when I looked at him, I said, I could tell, you don't look out for your people. Uh, I could tell, and he was a reservist, so I was like, yeah, you wouldn't make it on active duty. You don't know how to take care of your people. You know,
Yeah.
you'll have people. You'll have your unit. You have your soldiers and subordinates. Uh, you have it's toxic. So you'll be considered a toxic leader. And, you know, when I left, well, because he told me, he said, "Oh, Sergeant Hatcher, you're a wasted asset." So I didn't know how to take that as a compliment or if he was meaning it in a disrespectful way. And when he did that, I said, "Well, let me start looking for other jobs. Let me start looking for another job." And again, veterans preference. Everybody like to say veterans preference. So I, took a job being a supervisor at a warehouse. The hours were crappy. Um, um, it was like, oh, everybody's like, oh, you're a veteran and yada 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 yada. I was like, man, let me start wearing. I start wearing my veteran hats and all that stuff because I get tired of that. I got tired of hearing that. Well, I would have joined. I would have joined. I said, I don't want to hear that, man.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear if you want to join. If you wanted to join, you would have joined. When you had the opportunity. Don't tell me, well, I wanted to go to school. That's why you didn't join. I was like, well, if you'd have joined, you could have went to school right in service.
there you go. They could, hey,
So,
you might hit them back up if you got their number. They just they just hide their age, like 42. They might make it still. So let them go ahead.
yeah, I mean, and it was just me being a supervisor on that job. They didn't like my, the discipline level. Like I told them, hey, you here to do a job. And it was always, hey man, you ain't in the army no more. You need to let that go.
They love that.
I said, look, man, I when I was 17, 18 years old, the shit you doing now, I was doing that when I was 18, 19, 20 years old, so um it kind of made them feel a certain kind of way. But I worked that job for like 3 months until, I decided to go back to work at the VA. I had been applying to go back up there, and I was like, well, since I got my degree, I got 2 degrees up under my belt. Let me see if the VA will hire me. And same thing. I updated my resume, but I was not selected. And I was like, man, so now I got my degrees. I'm applying for all these jobs, and I got my degrees. Why the hell they ain't hiring me? Why they ain't hiring me? So it came about. I was getting offers to go work at the VA in Dallas. I was getting offers to go work at the VA in Nashville, Tennessee. I was even getting offers to go work at the VA in Florida. I
Okay.
was like, well, my resume is appealing to all these other VAs. What's going on with the VA where I live at? And it was pointed out, I said, well, it's not what you know, it's always who you know.
There you go. Yeah. So,
And
so what happened?
well, I didn't get picked back up on the GS side, but I did get picked up to go work at the VA. I went back to work at the VA as a contractor,
Okay.
but this time in a supervisor role. So I ended up like going back to the VA as a contractor, working in the same department and everything. And I'm looking, I'm like, dang, oh, this person here, she the supervisor. I said, damn, I trained her 2-3 years ago. Uh, I said, damn, so why the fuck I can't get no job back up here?
That's your answer right there, though. That's seeing you as a threat. They don't want you to come back here. They're scared that you're going to take their job.
Yeah, and that's what it was. But even with me being a contractor, I was in a supervisor role. I was just supervising the contractors that was working in that department. And man, I'll be honest with you. Uh, when I got back up in there at the VA, I said, damn, I only been gone 2 years. It's been 2-3 years that I left. I see ain't shit changed. And me saying that, I was like, well, ain't nothing changed for the same people that were here then, still doing the same bullshit now. Um, and I went back to work at the VA right after Easter in April. On April 17th was like my first day back. Last Friday, which was October 6th, I made that my last day working at the VA because I was like, well, I see the bullshit, but you know, getting out the military, especially after being in, for so long, we try to find our purpose. We try to find our way.
Yes,
So,
sir.
outside of my family members, man, you'll probably be one of the first person, and I'm glad I'm doing this on this podcast.
Me too.
And I hope anybody else, if they watching, leaving the military, we try to find our purpose, and we trying to find our way in life. Try to find our role. I found my purpose. I would be a youth prevention specialist starting Monday. Youth prevention specialist. And with that position, my goal it'll be going into schools, doing presentations and speaking to kids about smoking cigarettes, weed, vaping, and just giving them guidance, sound guidance and advice, uh, on what life holds, what's out there, you know, life after high school and
Yeah.
everything. So, I'll be starting my new journey.
How'd you get into that? Congratulations on that, because I feel like, yeah, you're right, dude. Like, I used to want to get a job in a VSO, and you go in there and the shit's a mess, and then you know why you never get hired. It's the same people doing the same shit. Like you said, you're never going to get
Right.
in if they look at you as a threat. But that's why I just decided to go ahead and just make this up. And I'm glad that we connected, and that you sharing all this, and that you got something bigger and better to get on to, because the youth need leaders, man. You
Yeah.
see the world, you see the way the world's going, dude. It's not the same as when you and I were growing up. So
No.
you know what I mean?
Um,
So like, shit, crazy.
yeah. And I try to emphasize that, put emphasis on that, even when I was teaching JROTC. Um, I still get cadets because they got everybody is on this group me thing. So my color guard team, um, I don't nobody thought to remove me from the group, but they still kept me in the group, and I always let them know, hey, Sergeant Hatchers, I'm still here watching. Uh, man, you would not believe, people's like, oh, you got an impact. I guess I did have an impact because I had kids that graduated last year or the year before. They joined the army, and of course, I made jokes with them. I said, hey, yeah, go and join the army. Get you that big enlistment bonus and go buy you a Charger, go buy you a Hellcat,
Yeah,
yada yada yada. And some of them say, "Hey, I joined the army, I joined the Navy, I'm in the Air Force, but I didn't buy no Hellcat, I didn't buy no Charger. I bought me a little beater car. Like you told me, be smart with my money. So and I had a kid. He joined the Navy, and this kid is fast tracking. Like he's fast tracking his ass off in the Navy. He only been in 7 years, and he's an E6.
damn, that's hard too. In the Navy, you got to take them tests a little bit different than on the promotion board in the Army. If you high speed, you get E6 quick in the Army, but yeah, Navy a little bit different.
Yeah. So I just try to tell them, I can't. I found something. It's called social responsibility, and I laid that on my kids. I said, hey, I'm doing for you what was done for me when I was in school, and it's a cycle that we got to carry on. Kind of like do unto others as they do unto you. So
Yeah,
I made it. And that was when I found this position, being a youth prevention specialist, and I found it on Indeed.
there you go. But you were looking though. You were looking. You weren't. You never gave up on looking for something better. And that's you're always like, I got to find the net. You got, like you said, you got to find purpose. And it seems like you found it. You liked working the ROTC. You like
Yeah,
make an impact, and now you're going to go and do the same thing, and get in front of more kids probably than just one ROTC battalion. So
yeah,
that's good, man.
yeah.
Where you at now? You still Alabama?
Yeah, I'm in Alabama. Like I said, I'm from Birmingham, but I live on the outskirts. I live like where I live at outside of Birmingham. I'm literally 45 minutes away from Anderson Army Depot. Uh,
Okay.
I'm 55 minutes away from Fort McClellan. So um, I'm just again just finding my purpose to try to make this you know make this world a little bit better. And I sit back and reflect on my days in the military, man, because I tell a person, no, I don't miss it, but man, I do miss it. I enjoyed my time in. If I could do it again, I would, but I'd be a little bit smart and I tell myself, hey man, you knock no correspondent courses out, and I take your ass to the education center and take you 2 or 3 classes at a time,
Yeah.
and so that was I think that's my only regret, not getting my education while I was in.
Yeah, even if you just did one at a time over 16 years, you're right though. Like, I guess you just get caught up and try to put it on the back burner unless you really just dive in and do it. Because
Yeah,
if you would have done if you would have just got out with your bachelor's, then you could have got your master's first and then your doctor. Well, you still can. Like, it's never too late. But that's good advice. To if you're in, use everything they got. Use that $4,000 a year to a TA. Use all
yeah,
that shit, dude. Use it all. Use everything you can, man. You're just gonna set yourself up for way more success after the army. Even if you don't want to go to school to get out, but like you can literally get paid to go to school. When you've done it, I've done it. It's great.
yeah,
It's great. Dude. I mean, maybe school's not your thing, but you can find a school that's a little bit more adult friendly. Or you don't have to
yeah,
go to Harvard. If you want to go to Harvard, go to Harvard. If you want to go somewhere to get the money and still benefit and still learn something, it's good and bad and all. But I'm glad that you tapped into all the benefits, dude. It's
yeah.
worthwhile, man.
I'm still tapping into it, man. And like
Got to.
even when I go up to the VA, I always let other veterans know, about the benefits. Like a lot of veterans, I had to tell some veterans, hey man, uh, I said you can apply for the PAC Act. Hey, submit your claim in through the PAC Act. Oh man, I can't. I said, man, listen here. The PAC Act, they went all the way back to Vietnam. With those claims. I said, man, go put your claim in. Put your claim in. Shoot,
Yeah.
if you need a lawyer, I said, hey, go talk to the DAV, go talk to the American Legion. If somebody there, they will put your claim together for you.
Yeah, you don't have to do it yourself, dude. Don't try to do none of this stuff yourself because you're not going to get too far if you don't know exactly what to do, how to word it, how to put it.
Right.
It's overwhelming, dude. To be honest, and that's why people quit because they think it's too much. But just a little bit at a time, get some help, reach out, hit somebody else up that's doing it. But
Yeah.
you probably know people that are out there that you got yourself taken care of, and you probably got friends that still haven't. They might be 30%, they might be 50, but they might have done 20 years. You people like that.
Yeah. And I only like for me, it was just carrying on the tradition. That's another reason why I joined. I come from a family full of Navy, Air Force, Marines.
Okay.
There wasn't a lot of people. I think me and another cousin, I think we the only ones that did in the Army. And my uncle, I had an uncle that was in the Marines, and like he was like, "Hey, don't take nothing less than 100%." I was like,
Hell
"Well,
yeah.
they gave me, when I left, I was like, oh, they gave me 80%." He was like, "Hey, you go back and get that other, you keep putting your claims in for 100 till you get that 100%. Keep putting your claims in." And he was like, "If ain't nothing, there's something wrong with you. Don't act like ain't nothing wrong with you." He was like, from head to toe, toe to head, front to back, back to front, side to side. He said, "There's something wrong with you."
Hey, good job. Good job, Unc. Unc put you on game, man. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's what it's
like
about, dude. Let's
he
go.
put me on to a lot of stuff, and like I said, when I did taking the medical retirement, I was, first thing he said, well, okay, you didn't do 20 years, so you can't get your retirement pay, but they have this thing they call CRSC and CRDP. Now, because I didn't do 20 years, I was eligible for CRSC because I got combat related disability.
Okay.
The
I was
only
gonna ask
thing,
you about that.
yeah, the only thing about CRSC, your disability, how they say, oh, it has to fit the narrative. It has to
Okay.
fit the narrative. So for me, I, of course, my deployments, and then with me getting medevaced, and with me going to having to go to, constantly going to behavioral health, I was able to qualify for. I was able to get CRSC with the help of having a lawyer, because I know a lot of people, they say, oh well, I didn't get approved for CRSC. I said, well, you might have to go to the DAV or go to the American Legion. I said, well, even if you get you a lawyer, uh, they'll probably approve it faster, because none of those, they don't like to see letters from the law office of,
Yeah. They know you're not playing when you get a lawyer on your side. You're right about that, dude. For real.
yeah.
So
So
that's not how you. How long did it take you to learn about that CRSC? Is that something you like your uncle told you about too, or something you kind of picked up on your own?
no. So with CRSC, when you doing your briefing, um, on the finance portion side, well, on the benefit side, that they'll let you know. somebody who, if they confident enough, they'll say, well, if you're doing a medical retirement and you didn't do 20 years, no, when you retire, you are entitled to retirement pay, but because you didn't do 20 years, what you would get is what we call CRSC, which is an offset of the VA pay. It offsets your VA pay for your retirement pay.
Okay.
Because, like for me, I waived my retirement pay and elected my VA pay because, of course, it was more. So
Okay.
on the backside, years later, when I got my 100%, I got a notice saying, hey, you are eligible to apply for CRSC. And thanks to my lawyer, he submitted my paperwork. I took him everything, from the reason why I got medevac out of Iraq. I had to go back and dig through all my medical paperwork, make copies, have him send up this thick ass packet to DFAS to Fort Knox. And I got a letter like 90 days later, I got a letter saying, my CRC had been approved. And how they did it, they went all the way back to my initial claim, which was in 2016. So of course they back paid me.
Oh shit.
That was awesome. I mean, and that came when I got the back pay for CRSC. That was probably like the best Christmas present I could get.
For real.
At that time. So yeah, and I think now I thought they call it the Major Richard Starr Act. Uh, for anybody that's listening, the Major Richard Starr, he was a guy, a veteran, that died from cancer. They medically retired him right before his 20-year mark, and he was just putting on a fight so he can get his retirement because what he died from, it was combat related. So what they're doing now, they're trying to propose to do away with CRSC, and for anybody who's medically retired with the combat. I'm thinking it says medically retired, but they may change it to where if you're medically retired with a combat related disability, you'll be able to get your retirement pay.
Okay. Good info. I never heard of that one before, so I gotta look up that and try to get something, let people know about that, dude. Because CRSC, you don't even know about that. That's like a pipe. Like people. It's all like these little hidden secrets, dude. Every time you go off and you learn something new.
Yeah, and with CRSC, they only go back 6 years from your initial claim. So I mean, they can only backdate 6 years. So not like with VA claims where they go all the way back to when you did your initial claim. They can only go back 6 years with that. And I know, like for me, when I did my medical retirement, because I was in 16 years, I know why they medically retired me, because if you get medically retired and they give you a severance pay, they do your calculations up times how many years your pay your high three with your pay grade times however many years you did in service. And when I did my calculation, I was like, oh man, that's like almost $125,000. Ain't no way in hell the Army finna give me $125,000 tax free. So they medically retired me. They found it beneficial to just medically retire me.
You've been sitting fat. You've been sitting ready to go. Go give the money to Alabama Boosters Club, man. You're ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's wild. But so, yeah, I'm glad you're still in Alabama. You might need to go take over that coach job, man, soon. Might get over there, man.
I'll be honest with you. So, with me teaching, I did some coaching. That's what I did. I coached when I got out too. I was able to get on the coaching staff.
Okay.
We didn't have. I got fired. I got fired because we won like one game. So they's like, oh yeah, we're not gonna retain you for the next season. So, but that was okay. I did. Yeah, I coached football. I coached special teams and DBs, and so we won maybe 2 games, and we didn't get you know, uh, they didn't
That's
retain
your
me.
fault, dude. You got to fire the head coach and build up the team. You gotta give you more than 1 year, dude. Come on, huh?
Yeah, well. So when I did it, I told him, I said, hey, you don't have to pay me. I'll volunteer. I just want to give back to the kids. And the athletic director was like, oh, well, no, you can't volunteer no more because so many people complain about volunteering and they doing all this and they not getting paid for it. So you had to sign a contract. So I signed a contract, and you know end of the season, based on the team record and everything, the whole staff was let go. Um, I had other opportunities to go coach, but the thing was, I wanted to be I want to be a full time teacher rather than just being a coach. I want to be active in the classroom. So
Yeah.
uh, I got my second opportunity with this job here uh, to get back into the schools.
There you go. And
So,
now you about to start going again, going hard on Monday. So
oh
I,
yeah, yeah.
let me know. We gotta keep in touch, man. Let me know how that goes. Now I want to ask you a couple more things. Like what were some of the best benefits you probably got from like the not just like the VA treatment, but did you use like the school loan, or excuse me, I said school loan. Did you use the house loan? What things did you use that you might can throw out there? Because obviously you got a wealth full of knowledge and you know what's going on, and just want to see if you
Oh,
got anything else up your sleeve.
oh man. So okay, well, so when I got out, and I got myself together, found stability with working. Um, um, this was even before I had got my. Let me see. At the time, it was before I had got my 100%. I had knew about the VA loan,
Okay.
and I got into looking at a house and everything, and the deal didn't go through because they were like the lenders was like, well, for anybody that out there that's listening, just because they say veteran, that doesn't mean that they're really associated with the VA administration. So
That's
I mean,
true.
they're clear. They'll say we're not associated with the Department of Veteran Affairs. They just a lot of lenders out there are veteran friendly, and I recommend anybody, Veterans United, Veterans United. That's who I use for my VA loan, to get my home, and it was awesome. Pretty smooth. They paired me with a real estate agent, but even though I went with my own real estate agent, it was in 2020, the height of the pandemic. I had been at the VA for 2 years, had some steady income coming in, and I was like, man, use my VA loan. At the time, they had a cap on. I think you couldn't go over 500,000. Um, and my interest rate, of course, as a veteran, I don't know if anybody know it. It's a certain interest rate that a company they cannot go over. I want to say 6%. It may have changed. As a veteran, no company can go over that. Well, they're not supposed to go over 6%. But I think that's like with the housing, with buying a house, they can't go
Yeah.
over 6%. Um, even a car, they can't go over 6%. Now with credit cards, it might be a little bit different. Um, but I used my VA loan. I used the VA home loan twice. My first home I bought in 2020. I sold it when my dad died. The home I have now which is a new construction home, new build. I use Veterans United again, and the home loan process was easy. It was smooth. Um, a lot of lenders they'll say that if you go with us, we'll pay your closing costs and everything. But I think with this home, my closing costs was little or nothing. I think I paid uh 2,500, but I got all that back. The thing about being 100% when you use your VA loan, you got to let them know that you're using your homestead exemption.
Yep.
Exemption. Let them know, you know. that you're using your homestead exemption. So when they do up your paperwork, you're exempt from taxes. And when you're exempt from taxes, the only thing you're paying your property for any other person, their property taxes included with the mortgage. With us as veterans, the only thing we're paying is the homeowner's insurance. There's
Yeah.
no private mortgage insurance. None of that is with the VA loan. So we have a slight advantage in that area when it comes to purchasing a home loan. I'm learning because I thought about opening up a business. They call it the SBA small business, advantage. Something you can, as veterans, we have so many benefits out there. It's just a matter of us actually taking the time to sit down and read and take advantage of what opportunity we have out there and everything.
Absolutely, dude. What kind of business you want to open?
So I thought about doing. It ranged from anywhere from like opening up a restaurant to starting my own security business, private security business, to even doing wholesale retail.
Yeah.
I even thought about that, but I think going through the VA for a business grant, you got to have you got to have a decent portfolio.
Yeah, you do, but there's a lot of programs out there. I'll send you some links and you can check them out because there's one called Entrepreneurship Boot Camp for Veterans, and it's done through the IVMF. It's like the Institute for Veterans and Military Families through Syracuse. And yeah, like you said, there's so many benefits. It's pretty much like a crash course about business, and they give you a chance to put your business plan together and get a grant. And yeah, so I'll share that with you offline. But yeah, and like after World War One, I think it was like most small businesses were owned by veterans, and now there's like barely any. So it's like a lot. We have the discipline, we have the work ethic, we have the mindset. You already you did it. You ran SSAs, you did this, you did that. So why not do it for yourself and your family? You know what I mean? So I don't blame you.
I think with that also too, it's a thing we tend to forget, and I didn't know nothing about it. I had to educate myself on a little bit more. While we was in, if you had a security clearance and if your credit score wasn't up to par, they'll revoke your credit. They'll revoke your clearance.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
With a lot of these, even with the VA home loan, they said you had to have a minimum 620 minimum 620 credit score. But then again, it may be less than that now, because again, they know you're a veteran and they know you have a veteran has guaranteed income because they get disability payments from the VA. So no one is going to turn down a veteran for anything, but it's just a matter of if your credit score is not where they need it to be, then they're gonna turn away from you. So that's probably why there's not a lot of veterans owned businesses. But then again too, it's again, I think most of the veterans out there, including myself, we're so used to being in that routine where we get up and go in and punching a clock for somebody. We're it's like, okay, how do we take that risk? Is it really worth the risk to go into business for myself? It's that fear of failure.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah, getting out of your comfort zone. But it's the only way you're gonna find out though, to let you go do it. You know what I mean? If you would have been miserable and stayed at all those jobs, you wouldn't have known what was on the other side. But you said,
right,
forget this. I'm gonna do this or I'm gonna do that, and you made it happen. Business probably be no different. So you good?
So I'm like, it's just a matter, like, again, just finding that purpose. I know some veterans up at Fort, they got a cigar lounge, Screaming Eagle Cigar Lounge up at Fort Campbell, off of Fort Campbell Boulevard on the Clarksville side. That's a veteran-owned business.
Rut Dog.
Yeah.
Rut.
Yeah.
Man, he's still up there smoking them cigars with his Dallas Cowboy shit on and his Alabama shit, man. You know how he used to be your first sergeant in 227, right?
No, he was actually my platoon sergeant up there in 227. So Twitty was one of my squad leaders up in 227. Like I said, like this was back in uh back in like 2002, 2001, 2002 ish, where gas was probably like still $1.25 and everything, man. And,
Damn, that's crazy to put that out there like that, dude. For real, it's $3 plus now, man. Crazy.
yeah, and this was back, when NC
Damn.
we sit up in the barracks and play NCAA football, man.
There you go. Skunk people out, man. Who you,
Yeah,
dude? So yeah, man, I seen Brian Twitty not that long ago, and his wife Angela and Alyssa, and I brought my son up, and they came to Orlando. It's like I think Alyssa's in 11th grade and Bree's in a senior in high school, dude. I remember those girls when they were babies, dude.
yeah, and I remember. So, like I said, Twitty was one of my squad leaders when I was in his platoon in EQ, and I got moved over to the platoon with Rut Dog when he was just he wasn't a platoon where he was actually getting ready to take the platoon sergeant, but he moved over to EQ platoon. But with Twitty's wife Angela, she
Yeah,
was actually my squad leader and everything.
damn, small world, dude. That's wild.
Yeah,
Yeah, good people though, man. They're good people, and
yeah,
good family, dude. It's good to still stay in touch with people because that's
that's
how
that.
that's the stuff you miss, dude. That's the shit you miss.
Yeah,
You're not in Clarksville seeing the same people that you can joke with every day and do everything now, but they're still
yeah,
there. It's just like need more need more get-togethers and stuff like that. So maybe if you
yeah.
ever come to Florida, we could all link up or I don't know, something, man.
Look, that's on my so I was up at I was up there at Clarksville today because I rode over to Virginia up around Fort Eustis and Fort Story and Fort, well, was it Greg Adams now, Fort Lee, the old Fort Lee. And I was like, man, everybody they know me. They's like, dang man, you done got old, you got all this gray hair. I was like, yeah, just life, life after the military hit me hard, but I'm still standing, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but I that's my next getaway trip coming down to Florida, man. Like,
What part?
um, man, I got friends in Jacksonville. I got friends in Tampa. I got a good buddy of mine. We were together at Hunter. He's down in the Florida Keys.
Oh, damn.
So
You
like,
got them all over, dude. You got to do a whole road trip, man. Jacksonville all the way northeast, Tampa's like
yeah,
southwest, and then Keys is all the way far south. But I'm about 45 minutes from Tampa, man. So holler at me when you come through.
look,
We'll link up.
we'll be in touch, man. Like I said, and look,
Yeah,
I like this show, man, and look, I would
appreciate that.
love to at any time, man. Just I would love to come on, man, and be a panelist on your show, man, because
Let's go.
I think with this here, we this you're doing a good thing with it, and
Appreciate that.
you putting information out there because again, a lot of veterans don't even know about. It's so much out there that veterans don't know about, man, and it's like heartbreaking because uh,
Absolutely. Some people kill
I,
themselves, bro. Some people kill themselves over this shit, dude. They think there's no
yeah,
way out. You know
like
people. We know people.
yeah, and I did for the Wounded Warrior Project, I did the 5K, for veteran suicide. I did the 5K last year for that. The carry forward with the Wounded Warrior Project. They do it everywhere. I think they probably did one in Tampa. If it wasn't in Tampa, it was in Orlando. But
Okay.
I I sit back and I tell people, hey, it's 22 veterans a day committing suicide out here because it's hard. People make it so hard for veterans when it shouldn't be, because the average veteran, hey, with that veteran, you're gonna get a hard worker, but
Absolutely. For the most part, yeah.
you passing up on this veteran that would go in and break their back for you, and you're gonna go get somebody that just want to sit on their damn cell phone and twirl their thumbs all day. And
That's why you got to get that business going too. But you can be helping those kids. But that's why we're such good entrepreneurs, dude. We don't let up.
yeah,
So
and the thing about that is, I'll put it on my page. So it's the company that I'm working for. It's called the Caron Foundation. They're a nonprofit They're a nonprofit, uh, and Um, I plan on taking that by storm. With the unique thing about this position, I'm the only one in Alabama
Oh damn.
with this role. It's another person that's coming on board with me. She'll be the only one in Kentucky. So it's like, and they got treatment centers there in Florida and Delray. I don't know how far you are from Delray, but they got a treatment facility there in Delray, Florida. There's one in Pennsylvania, and they got an outpatient facility in Atlanta. So like the vision I already explained to him, the vision that I have it'll be like the DARE program 2.0.
Let's go. Get that shit going, man.
Yeah.
Let's go. We need that. We need that, man. We need more people like you to get out there and take control and get some positivity out in the world and keep it going, man, because you see what's going on nowadays, man. We gotta take it a day at a time. Just do your best every day. And that's all we can really do, man, at the end of the day. So I'm still waiting on Twitty to get his ass on here. Angela, too. Where y'all at, man? We're going to share this to him on Facebook. We need y'all here, man. We know he an Alabama fan, too. That's you guys kind of,
Look,
kind of hard to get on here. But we're going to get him a little crown. Get him on here, man.
Look, man. Look, I was rooting for Florida when they had Danny Werfel and Ike Hilliard. I was rooting for Florida. I was rooting for Florida when Alabama couldn't get the job done.
You got me, man. Now they both fall. Alabama's still on top a little bit, but Florida, ever since like Tebow days, dude, they've been looking rough, dude.
Look, I was watching the thing, the what is it, Swamp Boys on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, what if Tebow actually went to Alabama, man? What could have been? What would that have been like if Tebow actually went to Alabama instead of going to Florida?
Florida probably wouldn't have won because Cam Newton wasn't doing it. He was sitting on the bench if he was still there at that time. But yeah.
But I'm glad that he did go to Florida because if Tebow came to Alabama, we would not have the GOAT. The GOAT would not have came to Alabama. So I'm glad.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, hopefully one of these teams can get it done in football. It's a little bit all over the place. I was rooting for Colorado, but Oregon put them in their place. So we'll see what happens. Notre Dame's pretty nasty. Ohio State too. So always good college football, man.
I think with this, the way the NIL and like I intertwine that with my teaching because I had cadets. They were like, "Oh, I'm gonna give me an NIL deal." NIL has it's a curse. It's like a Pandora's box because now you got everybody looking for an NIL deal when they're missing out on the big prize, which is going to school, getting a degree, and then going to the professional level. So now you got kids today, thinking, well, if I get an NIL deal worth 50,000 or 100,000, who can't nobody tell me nothing. It's already bad that they don't want to listen to their parents.
Yeah,
these kids get an NIL deal. That coach, they ain't gonna listen to that coach. They're gonna become uncoachable kids.
That's true. And then 100,000, that's not going to last you forever. That's gone pretty fast, dude. It's not going too far nowadays, but you're right about that. But hey, man, I want to open it to you real quick. I want to first say thank you for coming on and sharing your story. You were vulnerable. You opened up. You definitely laid out some valuable information and some golden nuggets. So hopefully some people pick up on that and we can get the word out. But I just want to let you say anything, closing remarks, and then we'll get ready to shut it down for the night. But the floor is yours, my man.
Man, look, I just appreciate the opportunity. You allow me, opening up your platform for me to give more information to our brothers and sisters out there because again, they're not getting the information out there like how it was when we were there. When you left the army, when I left the army, these people in these ACAP briefings, they're not really. It's just a check the block for them.
Yeah,
and,
you're right.
We get that. Like for me, I didn't even get my retirement certificate or anything like that. That was no fault of my own. I was just glad to get my DD 214 and getting the hell on out. But
that's true.
I had to research myself I was like, man, I need my retirement certificate. So I just took my retirement orders to the closest military installation, and I got them to give me my retirement certificate, and then the citation from the president, United States, thanking me for my service. And it depends on when you got out. You can go back and get a thank you letter from whatever president they like, whoever was president when you got out. You can go back and you can request a letter from them. Like what year did you get out?
I got out 2015.
So you got out in 15. So Obama, if you can request a letter from hell, you can. You were in when Bush was president. If you want a letter from Bush, you can get one from him too.
There you go.
So
hey, yeah, but the one thing that stuck out what you just said, that is realistically, dude, when we get out the Army, it's really up to us to figure it out. You can't rely on ACAP. We can't rely on even maybe plan A at the time, because you had a plan. You didn't have a plan. I had a plan A, but then I ended up getting my girlfriend pregnant. So that plan A, working in Alaska on an oil rig, cooking, that was out the door, dude. I had to get home. So that all was out the window real quick. So just do your due diligence. Don't try to blame somebody else and just take matters in your own hand. Try to reach out to people that are already been out in the military. If you're listening to this, reach out to us. We don't care. We'll answer the questions. We don't want you to go through the hardship. That's why we're on here talking and laying it out, right? So it's like, be smart and be proactive rather than reactive when you get out and it's too late. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And again, like the benefits are there. They don't, hey, even if you 0%, you can still get treated. You can get your treatment. 0%, you can still get treated. If it's on your VA rating on your sheet, it says not service connected, you can go back and appeal that claim and everything. So they want you to give up, but do not give up. And it's the same way with Social Security. Hey, they want you to give up. Just keep applying, because you earned it. We earned it. Let's get what belongs to us.
Yeah, that's a great way to end it, dude. Get what's yours. I appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening in. Like, comment, subscribe if you like this channel, and hope to hear from you guys soon. I hope y'all have a blessed night. Q, appreciate you stepping on, man. It wasn't so bad talking to Alabama fan after all. So,
hey, same thing, brother. Hey, go Gators, Roll Tide, and Aerosol.
Let's get it. All right. Take care.
All right.